Hello and welcome to Backstage Buzz at the MAC, where you get the inside story on the art scene right from the directors and artists of the shows, along with events hosted at the MAC. I'm Diana Martinez, and we have another great episode for you today. I will be sitting down with Lisa Dawn, star of the next show from Buffalo Theater Ensemble, Time Stands Still. Then later, we'll hear from Glen Ellyn native and Second City cast member Mark Campbell about his journey to becoming a comedian. But first, I am so happy to welcome an incredible artist to the show whose exhibition, Unite, is going to be here at the Cleve Carney Art Gallery. Faheem Majeed is, simply put, a Renaissance man. In recent history, he has served as executive director and curator for the Southside Community Art Center, an artist in residence with the University of Chicago's Arts and Public Life Initiative, associate director and faculty member at UIC's School of Art and Art History, solo exhibitionist at the Museum of Contemporary Art in Chicago, and founder and director of the famous Floating Museum. Now we are pleased to say he is here at the MAC. Welcome, Majeed.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Excited to be here.
So I want to talk about not just your show coming up, but the process, because you know, you were just saying we're getting your show, Unite, here, which I love the title. So let's talk about the title, Unite.
Unite, kind of the word itself, comes from my time at the Southside Community Arts Center. The Southside Community Arts Center, founded in the early 40s, late 30s, as a part of the Works Projects Administration. So that's a really deep history there. It's one of the few art centers that transitioned from the Work Projects Administration Federal Arts Program. And anyway, so I came in as an artist and over time became director and curator of that space. One of the interesting facts about that space, or things about that space, is this amazing art collection. And in that art collection are these works by a group named Afro-Cobra, specifically an artist named Barbara Jones Hogu. And they used to utilize, it kind of came out of the 60s as in a moment of kind of empowerment. So it was these really beautiful images that often use colors, or Kool-Aid colors as they called them, as a way of drawing people in, the colors that the people on the streets were wearing at the time. But embedded as part of the design were actually words. And one of the more prominent ones that stuck out to me was this piece called Unite, and this text Unite. And that's always kind of settled in. So in some sort of way, the text itself references, or the name of the show references that time period, but also talks about the political times that we're in right now. And
mirror.
Right, which pretty much is, the things that were potent then are potent now. And it's a way of kind of exploring text-based protest kind of language, and how that can sometimes be used, whether in propaganda or whether as kind of marketing, and in various ways. So it's a double-edged sword in that way. Sometimes it can really strike and be deep and go into something really depth, or sometimes be very surface. So
tell us about the exhibit we're going to see.
Well, the exhibition is actually going to be, I've been working on this body of work for a little over a year now. This will be the first time I've actually shown it in public. There have been bits and pieces of it, but what you're going to be seeing is actually a massive sculpture installation made up of numerous smaller pieces that are actually residue of the work that I've been working on in my process of making building materials. I'm going to be building a billboard.
You're building a billboard?
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of materials did you use?
Well, I have a background, I'm a sculptor by training, but actually I've been pulling kind of found material, so I've been recycling 2x4s.
Okay.
And shaving them down into smaller pieces, and then staining each one of those smaller pieces with Kool-Aid.
Oh, wow.
And then reassembling them, making large sheets of OSB, or particle board, which is the material you see you board up windows with.
All right.
And it's kind of a way of talking about my neighborhood and the spaces I see that are boarded up, and kind of the politics of that, but also talking about like institution building through the production of building materials.
Right.
And then kind of painting at the same time because they look like massive paintings. So I'm trying to collapse these things to make one seamless gesture as a billboard in the way you think about marketing, all those things that we talk about. So there's a lot of layers and little nuggets of things that you're going to be able to tap into, whether it's just beauty, I think it looks nice, or if you really want to get kind of into the politics of what it is, or a design process. It's a very tedious process. I'm essentially building a painting.
Do you work on it, like a day, a week?
Oh, it's been nonstop. I was offered the show maybe September. I've been working every day since.
Really?
Nonstop. Yeah.
Last September. And where do you work?
I live and work in South Shore,
Okay.
which is in Chicago.
But do you have like a warehouse, or is it in your house, or?
So I have two spaces. I show my work in Pilsen at a space called Manor Contemporary.
Okay.
And then I work actually in a old convent.
No way.
Yeah, it's a kind of a kooky, weird.
Do you have some good spirits come in there?
Yeah, spirits is the word, but it's kind of a condemned convent.
A condemned convent.
It's like no one's in there but me and a security guard and a couple.
No
people.
way.
So it's a space that I found and kind of not converted, but I just kind of work out of that space, and I'm friends with the church community, so they love having me there, and they're my neighbors, so I kind of make it out of that space. And I have a couple of studio assistants that work with me, and it's been really great, kind of really tapping into making in the way that I was trained. Yeah.
That's so exciting. How long have you been teaching?
How long have I been teaching? Officially teaching? Being paid to teach probably since 2010 or so.
So do you feel that when you started teaching that it helped to inform your work or change your work, or?
Yeah, a lot of my work actually is very community related. So I have a kind of an engaged practice that really is not only thinking about the object, but how the object actually impacts the communities, organizations, and spaces that I'm invested in. So it's not unusual for me to have lots of people involved in the design of it. It's very responsive and inclusive of a lot of people, because I want not only to make the object, but I want the object to do something impactful, and that's just something I'm constantly, kind of navigating in my work.
What's the piece you're most proud of that you've done?
Ooh. The piece that I'm most proud of, that's a good question. It shifts. Right now, I'm really excited about this piece.
Good.
Because in some sort of ways, it feels like I'm pulling a lot of things together from the beginnings of being a welder and a sculptor, and then thinking about the history and all the things I learned from the Southside Community Arts Center and the history of Chicago. And then also kind of this more kind of like what I call platform building, of actually like building work that like incorporates other artists to come in. So that one's important because it's very present. But the thing that I'm probably most important is my collective, my Floating Museum collective. And that's something that it's grand, it's large. We floated a 100-foot barge down the Chicago River last summer, and we worked with 40 or so artists, organizations.
That had a lot of press.
It had a lot of press and a lot of momentum. But I'm proud about not so much the doing of the thing, but how we did it and how we're going to continue to do that. So I'm proud, very proud of that, and how it potentially has ripple effects that are going to impact Chicago well into the future. So that's something I'm very proud of, yeah.
Well, it's truly an honor to have you here with us and have your art here. And I think, this is a really important precipice in your career. And I think we've caught you right as you're about ready to trajectory up and away. And we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Unite will be at the MAC at the Cleve Carney Art Gallery from February 8th through April 7th. Do not miss your opportunity to see this spectacular show. For more information, visit clevecarneygallery.org. The New York Times describes Mummenschanz as the granddaddy of wordless, whimsical nonsense. Come see the U.S. premiere of their show, You and Me, on March 3rd at the MAC and experience the magic. Don't miss the final film in the MAC's National Theater Live series. Yerma screens on March 8th at 7 p.m. Backed by popular demand and selling out fast is the 1940s big band musical review, In the Mood. Get your tickets before they're gone and experience a night of swing-era spectacle on March 10th. Get your tickets for one or more of these great events in person at the Mackinac Arts Center box office or online at themac.org. Or you can call 630-942-4000. Buffalo Theater Ensemble's next production, Time Stands Still, is the story of a photojournalist coping with life and relationships after she returns home from documenting the war in Iraq. Here to tell you more about it is actress and star of the production, Lisa Dawn. Welcome, Lisa.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. So, Lisa, you open when?
We open a week from today, February 2nd.
So when people are watching this, the show will be open.
Yes.
But we want to know right here what's going on backstage at those rehearsals.
Oh, backstage. I mean, we're all very focused. We're having a lot of fun, kind of exploring these moments. So every time we reach one level in the show, Connie's asking us to put like those other things under the surface. So it's a very contemporary show, so it's very realistic. So just like we're talking right now, there's stuff going on under the surface. I'm panicking right now.
Oh, don't panic.
Kind of, no, but I mean, there's always stuff going on under the surface when you're having a conversation with somebody.
Right.
So she's just helping us add all of those elements because this is a very complicated story. Yeah.
Well, I saw the show on Broadway, and I have to tell you, it was more what spoke more to me when I saw Laura Linney play this role of this woman who comes back. She's injured. We should tell everybody that she's injured. She's a photojournalist, and she kind of wants to go back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She doesn't want to stay home and be a wife and get better and forget that life, which I think everybody's kind of pushing her to do.
Right.
And I felt like the whole time, the best part about it was we were in on her secret that she's not into this guy and she wants to go.
Yeah.
I felt like that was what wasn't being said was more the story than what was being said.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. And she loves James.
Yeah.
There's so much love between them, but the passion for what she wants to do and what she feels is right, and really it's about telling the story for people over there that don't have the voice to tell the story, and that to her is bigger than her own life. Yeah. It's worth the risk, and it's that important to her. So yeah, it's you kind of want to root for her to have that normal life, but you see this, she's a very fiery, she's a fighter, and she feels if she's not over there telling the stories, who will? Right. So yeah.
And she's got a good sense of humor.
She does, yeah. She likes to sling it at people, and you kind of got to have a sense of humor, especially in the face of what she goes through. Putting herself in those tragic situations, you kind of have to keep a sense of humor. Mm-hmm. She kind of has to put some of her emotions to the side, so she can really look at it with a subjective eye and tell that story. So
you're a Chicago actress.
Yes.
And what other projects are you doing in Chicago that we should be looking out for?
Well, right now I'm focused on this. One of the other things that I do is I'm also a photographer, which is
no way. And the character in the show is a photographer.
Yes, it spoke to me, but I do more of the like weddings, and newborns, family stuff. So I have a lot of that coming up, which will be a focus. But one of the other things I do is I work with the Illinois Police Department in their crisis intervention training. So what that is it's a week-long training for them, but we come in on Thursdays and do role-play scenarios.
With the police?
Yes. So we play people with mental illness in scenarios, improv-based scenarios, and they come in and they are to kind of communicate with us with compassion and try to understand what's troubling us that day and to get us the help that we need. So it's really training them to advocate for people with mental illness on the streets and getting them the help that they deserve. So it's something that's been set in motion for a long time, but it's becoming
I love that they're
really
doing
more
that.
needed in today's world.
All over it's needed.
Yes.
All over it's needed. And how did you learn how to behave and how to act?
Well, I would actually, through my first training, they actually had a schizophrenia simulator, which had sounds, sights, smells. It was actually really interesting. But over the course of the program, we've been able to talk with people, social workers, people with mental illness, and really get their stories, similar to telling a story and making a difference in Time Stand Still. So.
There's a lot of parallels with you and this character, isn't there?
Yes, yeah. And it's parallel, but so many differences too. So as I'm photographing like the happy events, Sarah is really risking her life with these heartbreaking events. And I'm one of those people that I've been guilty of turning the page when there's something hard to look at. And this has kind of opened my eyes to looking and really finding out more and what we can do to make a difference. And I think that's an underlying theme in the show.
Well, I think the other interesting thing about that show, much like we have National Geographic Live photographers coming to speak on campus. We have a new series. And before this series, I would, page through National Geographic and I'm like, oh, there's a beautiful tiger. Flip the page. And you don't think about what did it take to get that picture of the tiger, or what did it take to get the picture of that child who was just bombed in Iraq like your character does. And you don't think about that. You just think about, you might, even if you feel the empathy toward the child or the horrifying thing you're seeing, you don't think about the conditions that the photographer went through to get that shot, and how they're sacrificing their own health, their safety, who knows what. They could be arrested to get that shot and tell the story. And I think it gives us a whole new perspective on these photographers.
Yeah, it really does. I've researched a lot of the photojournalists, and I mean, they are under the possibility of being kidnapped and tortured over there. And a lot of times when they are photographing some of these tragic events, people want to lash out at them for being there as a representation of what's happening to them over there. So it's been really eye-opening to read about some of this stuff and to really understand how you put yourself in that position, because it's more important to be there and show the world and say, pay attention, and you have to look at these things.
Well, Lisa, best of luck with the run of the show. We are looking forward to it. We're rooting for you.
Thank you.
So we will be there. Buffalo Theater Ensemble's Time Stands Still will be at the MAC in the Playhouse Theater February 1st through March 4th. Tickets can be purchased at the Mackinac Art Center box office or online at themac.org. Or you can call 630-942-4000. This spring, come see students and faculty showcase all of their hard work in one or more of the upcoming college music shows happening in March. Join us for the COD faculty recital on Thursday, March 8th at 7:30 p.m. The COD DuPage Community Jazz performs on Sunday, March 11th at 3 p.m. Then the COD DuPage Community Band takes the stage on Monday, March 12th at 7:30. Finally, see the COD Student Ensemble Concert on Thursday, March 15th at 7:30 p.m. And playing during February and March, don't miss the MAC's free international film series, Global Flicks. After each film, there's also a talkback led by a faculty member. All of these events are free, and movies screen every Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. and 7:30 p.m. For tickets or more information, visit atthemac.org. Mark Campbell is a cast member of The Second City, and he is no stranger to Glen Ellyn. I am so happy to welcome him to the show so that he can share his experience from being a hometown guy to his life as a comedian. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, happy to be here.
So, you're a Glen Ellyn guy.
I'm a Glen Ellyn guy. Yeah.
How did the Glen Ellyn guy go to the big Second City?
Luckily, it's not too far away.
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
You could just drive.
Yeah, I did today. Growing up was just sort of always a little goofy kid, and the sort of situation where my parents were very encouraging towards it, and I was too shy and too nervous. And then when I got to high school, I went to Glenbard West.
Okay.
I joined the speech team out there per the recommendation of my brother, who also was on the speech team.
Did you have a college? Mr. College?
He had retired at that point, so I
okay.
had Tony Crowley.
All right.
Who was like one of the largest influences on my life by encouraging me to like stick with it, and I was interested mostly in the comedic events, and so he was my coach all 4 years. So I was very lucky to have him, and I loved it. I thought it was a blast because I just got to like write little goofy scenes or perform little short segments of plays with my friend, and it it was very fun, and it was a competition, so that sort of fulfilled my dad's wish for me being athletic or winning things, because I wasn't good at sports.
Here, Dad, I got a trophy.
I was like, I got some medal. Yeah, so I really enjoyed performing as a result of that, and then when I moved to college, I stayed in the area. I went to North Central College in Naperville, and I got involved in the late night improv program there, and was lucky enough to work at and perform at the Comedy Shrine Theater.
Sure.
So Dave Sinker, again, the owner and
I know
and
him very
founder,
well.
He's wonderful. He's a great man.
So he mentored you?
Yeah,
there?
definitely. And he was so kind to take a 17 or 18-year-old kid who like emailed him just asking to like sweep up after shows. And he let me run the light booth and then let me take classes for free and eventually started letting me perform in shows. And so I got a ton of experience at a very young age. So the Comedy Shrine's been a very important place to me.
So you've done stand-up?
Yeah, I did stand-up for a little while, mostly in my college years, and I was doing both stand-up and improv at the same time, and just sort of enjoyed the experience of improv a little bit more. I still love stand-up.
So then did you audition for Second City, or you took the classes, or what was your steps?
Yeah, so Second City has a ton of different class options. They have a conservatory program, which you have to audition to get into, and so I auditioned for that. I don't know, I think at least twice. You fail a lot.
Yeah, you do.
So I auditioned for that, and when I eventually got accepted into that, that's a 6 level program.
Right.
So I went through all of that, and then I went through their house ensemble program, and then I auditioned for a cruise ship. Second City for like 12, 13 years had contracts with Norwegian Cruise Line. So I performed on 2 cruise ships in the Caribbean doing comedy, which was insane.
The boat shows.
The boat shows, which were very fun. And then when I came back from doing that, I was hired as an understudy for the touring company, and now I'm a full-time member of the touring company, which is
very
insane
exciting.
to say.
It's really exciting.
Thank you.
And next up is to get a stage. That would be your next.
Well, I mean, I would never say no to anything like that. It's one of those things where you try not to have particular expectations or
Smart.
Yeah, you just sort of, I personally am just trying to enjoy it because it's such a fun job. It's insane that this is my job, and I'm very grateful and very lucky to do it, so I just want to enjoy it as much as possible.
Well, it sounds like you're on the track.
I remember being in college when I was doing stand-up comedy, what I loved about that was the idea of like, you can just like travel around the country and do comedy. Because I went from Glen Ellyn to Naperville to Chicago. I haven't gone very far. So when I found out that Second City had a touring company, I was like, that is the coolest job in the world.
So where have you been?
Well, oh man, I joined, I was understudying for an extended period of time in May, so I've only been for less than a year, but we've been all over. We've been to Seattle, New York City, Orlando, down in the Southwest, Oklahoma City and Texas and New Mexico. We just came back from Michigan. We're going to Kankakee on Saturday. They sort of sent us big Kankakee show. Come see us. Yeah, so we get to travel all over the place, near and far, which is great.
That is really great.
Yeah, I love it.
You know, a lot of people think, to me, success is about luck and persistence.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's the right combination of luck, persistence, and of course you have to have talent. But I think a lot of people don't understand how hard you have to work to get there. And it's a lot about the persistence and knocking on that door. And like you said, there's a lot of failure.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if it's always, I used to tell actors, like, stop with the failure. You know, sometimes as a director, you need, a hammer, and sometimes you need a screwdriver.
Yeah,
and sometimes
absolutely.
you're not the screwdriver, you're the hammer. But when I need a hammer, we'll come back.
Absolutely.
And I think, but a lot of people get demoralized, and they can't handle that.
Yeah.
And in comedy, we know it's tough when you're doing ensemble because you need the clown, you need the alpha, you need the political writer, you need 2 females. So it doesn't matter if you're the best. If there's a female role that's open, right? There's just not, right now we need, a female.
Right now we're very fortunate in that sort of those very archetypical roles are sort of being blended or broken down. Yeah, and blended a whole lot, where it's not so much a matter of like, we need a female or we need someone who can write this particular thing. Now it's purely just a matter of like, this person is undeniably talented, and we're gonna hire them. We want to
find a spot for them.
Exactly. So that's a very good thing to be happening right now. Yeah.
However, in your career, in your life, there's the thing you have to. I love your perspective of, I'm enjoying where I am right now.
Yeah.
And keep working towards your craft and enjoy it. And I think a lot of people are always looking ahead.
Sure.
And it's a tough balance to keep your career propelling.
Right.
But how do you keep reality and balance and not make yourself nuts?
Right.
You know?
And that's a conversation that I have with my dad on a near daily basis, because he's very much a planner and
what's the next step?
Yeah, wants
right?
me to think about the next step, and I'm just this little, lighthearted poet boy, and I'm like, I don't know, the moment's beautiful. So I think that it's trying to find that balance of appreciating and enjoying the opportunity that I have right now, while still trying to be aware of, well, in a few years, this won't, I won't be doing this forever.
It served you well.
Thank you.
It served you well.
Thank you.
And I really enjoyed your performance when I saw it. Now, Second City's coming back.
Yes, they are.
To the MAC for Valentine's Day. It's a great date night.
Exactly.
No, you're not in that show.
No, I'm not in that particular show. There are 3 touring company casts, and I'm in one of them, and so this will be a different cast. And if it's the one that I believe that it is, they are wonderfully talented, goofy people.
Well,
so it'll be a great show.
We look forward to following your career, and thanks for coming back home and talking to us.
Love being home.
All right, well, we'll see you soon, I hope.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
All right. The Second City will be at the MAC on February 17th. Be sure to keep your eyes on atthemac.org for all future Second City performances. That is all the time we have for today, but be sure to tune in next month for even more behind-the-scenes talk about upcoming shows and events. I'm Diana Martinez, and thanks for watching. We look forward to seeing you at the theater and next time on Backstage Buzz.